Okay, so we're back. Take two. The plan is to add zero conf channel support to Sensei. In a recent LDK release 107, they added support for zero conf channels, which is relatively new to the spec, I believe, and I think they're one of the first maybe to support it. I have no idea if that's true. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but anyways, they added it to LDK, and so I thought it would be fun to add support for it in Sensei. Zero conf channel is basically what it sounds like. Normally, when you open a channel with someone, you have to wait for a certain number of confirmations before your Lightning node will consider it usable. That the number of confirmations is definitely configurable for each node, but until recently, I think it wasn't really supported to do zero conf. And so zero conf is basically means we're not going to wait for any confirmations. As soon as we see the on-chain transaction in our mempool, we will consider the channel ready to be used. And so it sounds really cool. It can be useful in certain use cases. There's definitely some caveats in that, it's similar to zero conf transactions on chain, where there's sort of an element of trust in the sense that it's possible that the transaction never confirms because maybe they didn't pay enough fees, or they can bump the fee rate by publishing a separate second transaction, or maybe they try to double spend it themselves and the transaction never confirms. So basically, there's similar risk is here in Lightning. So if you accept a zero conf channel from someone, it means that any funds that you receive over that channel could just kind of vanish if that transaction never actually confirms. So until that channel confirms, any satoshis you receive over it, you're sort of trusting that nothing's going to go wrong with that transaction. And so we were looking through the release notes to figure out hopefully to get some hints on how to implement this and where they added it. And the first thing they say here is there's a new feature bit. I think this is part of the spec. I haven't actually looked into this yet. Option zero conf that your node can signal. This, I believe, maybe goes out as part of the node announcement. Not really sure, actually. And then when you're configuring outbound channels, LDK has this channel handshake limits configuration object, essentially, that has a bunch of configuration options that you can set for each channel that you open. And so they've basically added this trust own funding zero conf. We were looking at it to understand, at first glance, it seemed like there was really no reason why you wouldn't always set this to true. So with an outbound channel, you're the only person putting funds at risk. And so you're sort of trusting that you're not going to double spend yourself. And so in most cases, it seemed like that was like a good idea, a reasonable idea. And if we take a look at this channel handshake limits object, they provide some nice documentation about this trust own funding zero conf. And indeed, it does say that, in general, this is safe to do. Where does it say that, actually? This is generally a reasonable assumption, right? And so the idea is that there are cases where this isn't, and it wasn't immediately obvious to me initially what these cases were, but they outline them here pretty well. And basically, one idea here is if it assumes you have complete control of the signing keys. So if you're in some kind of multi-sig or some kind of, I don't know, maybe taproot construction where someday, or well, I guess not someday, but basically, if someone else could double spend it without you knowing, like you're opening the channel, maybe there's 6 people in a multi-sig and 3 of you are opening the channel and the other 3 could double spend it. So maybe it's not actually safe to assume this. Another case they mention here is if we allow our users to, in an automated fashion, double spend the funding transaction with an alternative channel open. And so in the case of Sensei, we currently don't have anything like this. So I think in general, it's safe to do. And it turns out the default is true anyways. So I think for Sensei for now, we'll just leave it the default, but I did add it here, just expose it with the default value just so that we know it's available as an option. Otherwise, we're just kind of spreading in this default here. it would be pretty easy to just make this a configuration option, either globally for the node or maybe per channel. I don't know. Either way, it would make sense. And so we'll just leave this true for now. And so the other half of this, so this is for any outbound channel. Basically, you're signaling when you open this channel, hey, if you happen to be open to zeroconf support, we're willing to do it. And so this is a way for you to signal when you open. If the other person says, yeah, that sounds good, let's do it, then I assume that your node will then, you basically both agree during this handshake when you open the channel. And that's it. And your channel will be usable basically as soon as the transaction's in the mempool, or in each of your mempools. And so the other half of this is going to be responding to someone trying to open a channel with you, and presumably we'll be able to check if they have this or similar type of flag set saying like, hey, we'd like this to be zeroconf, and then it's up to us to say, yeah, sure, let's do it. Or maybe we might say, no, I don't trust you, we're not doing this. And so I was saying earlier that just for like a first pass on this feature, we're just going to always accept zeroconf just to try it out and get it working, so we can see that we could actually set it up and route a payment without any confirmations. But in real use for Sensei, I think it makes sense to probably have some sort of whitelist. So maybe some kind of, I guess you could have a global default one way or another, say like always accept or always not accept, and then have a list that kind of is exceptions to those rules. So probably the best way forward is like, you trust the nodes that you control in your Sensei instance, so you can easily provide liquidity to them. And then maybe you'll have like a list of peers that you actually trust in real life, or whatever you trust on the internet, and you're willing to accept zeroconf with them. So there'll be some kind of internal list that is saved in the database for nodes that you want to participate in zeroconf channels with. So anyways, I think this will be a lot of new code, because in this event handler, so this is LDK, lets you or forces you, I guess, to implement this event handler where they'll bubble up a bunch of events that might be interesting for you to override behavior, or in some cases, not just override, but you actually have to implement it. So one example is this funding generation ready event. And they'll say like, hey, you're initiated a channel open, it's ready to be funded, here's the output and the amount that need to be included in a transaction. And so we construct a transaction and give it back to them. In this case, we're interested in this event, which we don't currently have any code for, and there's an old comment here from the sample node, which Sensei was started from. But basically it looks like they'll bubble up an event called open channel request. Oh, hey, Steve. So they'll bubble up this open channel request event, and I assume this is like, hey, someone's trying to open a channel with you. And so this is where we'll be able to kind of say, hey, if this is someone we want to allow zeroconf channels, if we want to allow zeroconf channels with, then we'll be able to accept it here somehow. It's a little confusing because it says unreachable, we don't manually accept inbound channels, which maybe this is just old because this is from the LDK sample. We definitely, I see, manually accept inbound channels. So the default is probably to automatically accept inbound channels, because we can definitely already do that in Sensei. And so I guess the idea is maybe in order to do this zeroconf, to accept inbound zeroconf channels, we'll have to turn on this flag somewhere. So the idea is that we always, unfortunately, are going to have to manually accept inbound channels. Maybe there's I don't know. We'll dig in and see if there's some kind of like maybe only for zeroconf. That would be nice. Like automatically accept non-zeroconf channels and manually accept zeroconf channels is sort of what we want. Otherwise, I guess maybe they'll give us information here where we can figure out if it's a zeroconf request, and if it is, then we will consult our list of peers that we want to accept zeroconf channels from. Otherwise, we'll just automatically accept it. So I think I can expose what fields we get here. Yeah, this will fill them for me. So we can take a look at what we get. We get the temp general ID, counterparty node ID. So this is their pub key. how many Satoshis it's for, how many are being pushed, and channel type. Okay, so hopefully channel type will give us some context to whether or not this is zero conf. Let's see. Features that this channel will operate with. If you reject the channel, a well-behaved counterparty may automatically reattempt the channel with a new set of feature flags. Oh, that's cool. So you could be like, hey, I don't want this, but try again with some other feature. So it looks like if performance true on this type, the resulting channel manager will not be readable by versions. Oh, that's scary. Okay. Furthermore, if supports zero conf, okay, so this is indeed a feature here that we care about. Returns true on this type, the resulting will not be readable. Okay. Channel setting, this type also needs to get manually accepted. Channel setting this type. Yeah, so I guess that's what, accept inbound channel from trusted peer zero conf. It's a mouthful. So yeah, I assume this is how we manually accept. So inside of this function, once we're here, assuming we are manually accepting inbound channels, it seems like we're going to have to kind of submit them, sort of similar how like later on we tell the channel manager when we're opening a channel. Where did it go? Oh, this code changed, sorry. But anyways, yeah, it sounds like eventually somehow we're going to have to tell LDK, yeah, we'd like to accept this request, right? And so they're saying if it's, I guess there's a special function here on the channel manager for accepting zero conf channels. I wonder how we do it for normal channels. We'll have to see. But so basically, I think I want this code to be something like, you know, if zero conf, then only accept request if whitelisted, or, you know, local node to Sensei or something like that. Otherwise, accept request. It's sort of what we do by default. So I need to figure out where that manually, now I forget what that comment said, but we need to figure out how to enable manual channel like acceptance. Does anyone watching know how? Okay. Okay, to accept the request, okay, so here it is. So accept inbound channel. To reject the request, course flush close. Okay. This event is only triggered when a new open channel request is received and the user config manually accept inbound channels config flag. Yeah, so where is this user config? I wonder where we're setting this actually. Let's check here. Because I know there's one of these. Here it is. Yeah, of course there's a to do. So we're using a default config here. And then we're setting peer channel config limits, force announce channel preferences to false. I assume this is something like default to private channels, probably. It seems like this is the same config we use when we open channels. So yeah, right? I think this is the same thing. Yeah, channel handshake config. So I guess you have one of these for both ends of the channel. Let's see, top level config. Yeah. Okay. Accept forwards to private channels, accept inbound channels. If this is set to false, we do not accept inbound requests to open a new channel. Default is true. Okay, here it is, manually accept. So if this is set to true, the user needs to manually accept inbound requests to open a new channel. When set to true, open channel request event will be triggered once a request to open the new inbound channel is received through an open channel message. In that case, an accept channel message will not be sent back to the counterparty node unless the user explicitly chooses to accept the request. Default value false. Okay, so this is definitely it. And so it sounds like once we opt into manually accepting, we'll need to do it for all channels, which I guess is going to be easy enough, but just something to be aware of. So still not clear to me where this gets passed in. User config. Okay, so it looks like our channel manager, when it's instantiated, takes one of these user configs. So this is sort of, I guess, yeah, when it's sort of, when we open a channel, we can set these kind of same type of configurations that we're going to send to our counterparty. And that gets, I guess, compared against, in this case, whatever we set locally with our channel manager. And so here is where we can enable that functionality. So I guess let's go ahead and try to manually start accepting channels. I already forget where it is. Okay, it looks like it's on the root object here. And we'll just come back here and try this. User config dot, yeah, so here's our options. Manually accept inbound channels. And we're gonna go to true. Okay. And this is okay to set for all. We don't need this to be a configuration option because we're going to handle the code for every channel open in here. So all that means now is instead of this just getting auto accepted, LDK is going to be bumping or like surfacing this event up to us, and we need to, you know, manually accept it. So if we want to have the same behavior, I think that we've already had, we can basically do this, right? So if we want to accept it no matter what, what's our channel manager here? I believe it's just here. Yeah. So I think we can just be like self.channel manager. Yeah. So we have these two methods here: accept inbound channel, which I guess we want to. I wonder what happens if they requested zeroconf and we use this. I assume it's just going to ignore it and not actually agree to the channel zeroconf channel. So this is sort of the default way that it's going to respond to the open requests in general, like if we are not manually accepting them. And in this is a special version of accept inbound channel when we want to agree to the zeroconf. Yeah, so I assume that's what this is. So basically, we're going to be able to use these two methods here in combination with this channel type, which will tell us if they're trying to open a zeroconf channel. And ideally, we would consult some kind of configuration. But for now, you know, I guess that will be in here maybe. Or we could keep it in the database, which is probably a better place for it. But like I said, in the first pass of this functionality, we're just going to automatically accept all zeroconf channels. So yeah, let's try to do it. Let's see. What does this take? It takes temp channel ID, which we have, so that's easy. Temp channel ID. It takes the counterparty node ID, I'll reference to it, which we also get. And then it takes the user channel ID, which we do not have. Okay. The user channel ID parameter will be provided back in the channel close to allow tracking events. Yeah. So maybe this is saying we set this here to whatever we want essentially, and it will be persisted in future events about this channel. I assume that's what this means. Receive support for zero. Okay, so that answers the question from before. If we try to accept, if they are trying to open a zeroconf channel and we use this method, it'll break. You have to either reject it or accept it using this zeroconf one. Okay, so I guess we can just set this to anything. So for now, let's just go with 0, though I remember some comment about like anything but 0, so let's just use 1. And what does this method return? It's nothing or an error. I think we don't have any error handling in this. Yeah, so let's just, for now, we'll just ignore the error. Okay, so that's simple. Now we want to do this logic. So if they're trying to open a zeroconf, we want to accept the zeroconf. Otherwise, we're going to accept it this way. So the code as is basically what this has no change basically to Sensei. So by setting this to true, it just means it's no longer going to automatically accept. It means it's going to bubble this event up, and it's on us to accept if we want based on the information given to us. And so with just accepting here directly, we're basically re-implementing the automatically accept. So it's sort of, normally pointless to do this. If you're not going to add any other logic here, then you might as well just keep this to the default false. But in this case, we do want to add some logic here. So that's why we're surfacing this event. Sorry, Ben. Yeah, I mean, I guess my true face is exposed these days, so maybe I'll get rid of it, but you gotta have something unique about your channel, I guess. Okay, let's keep going. How are we gonna do this? So we need to figure out if it's a zero conf channel, and this thing is a reference to some features. I don't know how this is gonna work. We want this. It returns true on this type. So it looks like it has a method that says supports zero conf. So let's just check, I don't know, if channel type dot, nope. What do we got here? Oh, interesting. Okay, so it just requires in front of everything. Supports, okay, so there's supports and requires. And set, okay, that's strange. Why would we want to set? We probably can't, we don't have a mutable reference, but anyways, okay. So requires and supports, does it explain what the difference between that is? I guess I could try to think about it. Supports is what they're talking about here. If supports returns true on this type, the resulting channel manager, oh, okay, yeah. And will need to be manually accepted. Yeah, I wonder what the difference is. Well, obviously the difference is probably like, to me it reads, you would say I require it if, I'm going to fail this channel if you don't accept it, whereas supports feels like it's like opt-in. Like if you want to, it's optional. Like if you want to do it, let's do it. Otherwise it doesn't matter. I'll do a normal channel. So it's not clear to me here if I could get both, if I could get something that requires it versus something that supports it. So this is going to be a question I'm going to have to throw into Slack. I don't know if I need to check both here. Like if it supports zero conf, like it was just going to be or requires it, it's not clear to me. But I would guess I want to do both. That's my gut. Why is this not requires? Am I typing this wrong? Requires zero conf. Yeah, so basically if it supports or requires zero conf, we're going to add our custom logic. Otherwise, we're just going to accept it like we normally do. I don't know what the default actually is for this. What does it do internally if you're not manually accepting? Requires implies supports. Right. But is it possible that you get just supports or just, I guess if you get requires, then obviously it supports it, but could you get just supports, right? I guess you could. And so I'll need to check both if I want to always accept zero conf, right? Let's see if Jeff answers me, but that sort of makes sense. So for now, without checking, so here's where we want to do something like if whitelisted or local node or something like that, except like else reject. So we only want to accept zero conf channels from things we trust or are on some kind of whitelist or something like that. But again, I just want to see it work. So for now, we're just going to accept everything. So let's just, I think we should be able to just accept here. And I assume it's going to take similar parameters, temp channel ID, counterparty ID, yep. So yeah, this is basically the same. Okay. It's gonna be complaining. Why is this so small? Okay, I mean, I get, oh, yeah, it's gonna be mad that I'm not using the error. Right? Yeah. What are we gonna do here? You just need to check supports. Requires means the even feature bit required. Oh, support means either the even or odd feature bit. Oh, I see. That makes sense. So if it's requires, then support's going to be there. And so I don't even need this. Yeah, got it. Got it. Thank you. Okay. So this thing wants me to deal with these errors, which we're not. I guess we could log it. So we'll just match on this, and if it's okay, I think it returns nothing here. Accepted 0conf inbound channel from, I don't know if I can log this thing easily, counterparty node ID. How's that? And if there's an error, failed to accept inbound, failed to accept 0conf inbound channel. I guess we can still put from, and then we'll do colon and something like this. I don't know if this is gonna implement debug, but we'll try. Okay, and I can't type tonight. Okay, why is this mad at me still? Oh, because I don't know how to use Rust. Okay. Yeah, it's okay to be odd. We are mostly odd. That is correct. Okay, so we'll just do the same thing down here. Probably want to handle this. And these aren't 0conf. Oh my god, I can't type. Okay. Okay, and it's mad because I'm not using these. I guess we might want to use these, right? You might want some logic like accept 0conf for channels under some size. I don't know. There's probably some use cases there, but for now we'll just ignore these here. This is going to... Yep. Okay. So that might be it. That might be all we need to do to accept 0conf channels. So I guess let's give it a shot. Let me delete directory. Oh, yeah. Okay. And I guess let's see. Yeah. I never even remember the command to start this here. What we got here? Okay. This looks okay. I don't know if Nagiri is running. Looks like it is. So we're gonna start it in dev mode. I guess. Let's just try this. It is compiling. So this is, yeah, I think we should be good to go here. this isn't gonna work because I'm not running the web admin locally, but I guess I should in case we want to build out the config. Man, I haven't worked on this in a little bit. How do I start this? Just Symbian run start, I think. Yeah. Okay. Let's try this. That's not good. Oh, why is it so slow? Something like this probably. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's set up our node. Okay, let's fund it. I'm gonna need another tab here. No. Nigiri faucet. Oh, again, I can't type. Okay, funded our node. Let's create another node. Let's call this Alice. Okay, now I guess all we have to do is open a channel with Alice. Let's do 50,000. So there's currently no configuration here whether or not to opt in to zero-conf. Though, like we mentioned, outbound channels, it doesn't really hurt you to always set it unless, you know, the situations we talked about. So let's go ahead and open this channel. That's not a good sign. Yeah, it still says pending confirmation. So I would have expected it to flip right to ready. Let's see if we get anything in the logs here. Yeah, so it's starting, this is the root node, starting Alice's node, initiated channel, and then accepted inbound channel. So this is that log here, so we can see that the manual, you know, the manual, what is it called? Manually accept inbound channels, this is working because we got this event. And we see we ended up down here. So it said accepted inbound channel. So what happened was, it seems like it didn't, we got into this else, right? So my channel that I opened did not support zero-conf. Is this on testnet? No, this is on just my local reg test. So for whatever reason, so it's good and bad. So good, we know that this is working. We're doing this, but the bad news is the channel that it got, the request did not claim to support zero-conf. Okay, and so I think that comes from here. When we initiate the channel open, so the channel open request generates one of these user configs also, and I have this here, trust own funding zero-conf, but maybe there's something else that we need to set to say we support it. Like Jeff was saying before, there is a feature bit. I don't know. I'm not manually setting it, so maybe I'm missing something here. Let's keep reading here. Support for feature. Yeah, so maybe we have to set this somehow. I'm not sure. Don't see anything about zero-conf here. Okay, so nothing else. Channels with option zero-conf feature enabled, not required for zero-conf, will be unreadable. Yeah, got that. So how do I set this? Let's just try something like this. Option zero-conf, features, chain log, yeah, we knew that. Anything good in here? Feature flags for accepting. Yep. Define feature. I see. So this is probably a macro for that channel type thing we were looking at before. Doesn't seem super helpful. Issues, zero comp channels, yeah. Well, let's go back to the code. Maybe we can figure this out ourselves. So let's see if there's anything else in here. Max minimum depth, trust. So we're already dealing with this one. I don't see anything else in the channel handshake limits. These are the defaults. We already knew that. Channel config. So maybe there's something in here. Announce, confront, upfront, nope. Nope, no. So I don't see anything in there. This is concerning. Okay, maybe it's in this user config. Channel handshake, channel config. Accept forwards to prior channels, accept inbound channels. Yep, that's it. So I am not sure why our channel is not showing up as zero conf. I would guess it's something here. I mean, this is where we're opening the channel. Pub key, amount, push amount, channel ID, and then the config. We saw this. Yeah, so the config, you know, is just one of these user configs, which doesn't appear to have anything about this feature bit. Jeff, anyone? A little help. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep digging, but I'm not seeing anywhere. I don't know if I have to opt into that feature somehow. Not seeing it. I guess what we could do is add a little logging. So we could come back here, channel type. I'm not sure how I would log this, but let's make sure I didn't do something backwards here. If supports zero conf, yeah. So this must have been false. Yeah, so I don't know how the channel type features are set because it doesn't seem like they're exposed when you're opening the channel. And so I'm guessing it's some kind of global node config or something you set on your channel manager. Hint. Oh, we got a hint. Oh yeah, I guess I could look at the tests, but it's just confusing that. Yeah, this isn't helpful. Okay, well, let's just cheat, I guess. Let's see what this is. If our peer tells us they will accept our ZoConf and we funded the channel, yep. Further, if we accept, channel ready messages fly, okay. Manually accept, we already did this. Create node channel managers. Open zero comp channel. Okay. Where is this? Yep, this is true for us already. Initiator config, so I should look at that, but get event message, yeah, so receiver node, handle open channel. Yeah, this is like kind of manually hacking into this event mechanism and then calling this. Though it's not performing that check, so maybe there's a bug. Probably not, but okay, so I mean, what config are they giving it? I mean, I don't think it's anything different than we're doing. None. Oh, that's a different test. What test did he link to? Test simple zero comp channel, yeah. Jan config test. Open zero conf channel? Yeah, none. That's strange, but okay. So for the channel manager config, they're passing in this chan config, test default channel config. Come on. This is not defined in this function, in this file, I guess. Functional test utils. Let's see if I can find this. Okay, here's the default. They're using the default, and then they're setting this announce channel. Yeah, we already looked at these options, and there's nothing here. So I wonder what I'm missing. Node chain manager create. Is it? I don't think it's this. That's what we just looked at. Node configs. Create network. Is this going to be another file too? All right. Yeah, these are just dummy nodes. There's no config here. Features. Init features known. I'm not sure what that means. That might be like all known features that it knows about, I guess. Empty versus known. But I don't even know. Am I doing this in this code here? Features. Invoice features. Yeah, this isn't. Yeah, I'm not setting any features. Is that a problem? Does the channel config have announced channel set? I don't know. I think it does. Yeah, it does. You pass it in. So when you create an open channel request, you tell it whether or not you want it public or not, and then that gets in the channel config gets set to announce channel. So yeah, this is all getting set. This is here for outbound channels. Something weird's going on. What else could it be? It feels like somehow I don't know where I guess the question is, where do these channel type context features get set? Like, it seems like, I don't know if they're like a subset of the node features or something. I mean, it must be. But I don't think I'm explicitly setting them anywhere other than maybe this config, but this config doesn't appear to have anything interesting other than this, which we're already doing. So, let's see. Default config, it doesn't seem to take some kind of features. Channel manager, new, yeah, it really, what are these? Oh, like best block, okay. Yeah, this is confusing. It doesn't seem to be settable anywhere other than the user config. Unless it's not part of the channel manager. So yeah, I have no idea how you set these. I have no idea. And it seemed like the test you linked to doesn't test these features like this feature is set. It's just assuming that it's zero conf. I guess I could try that. I could try calling except inbound zero conf but I don't know. I guess, yeah, your tests don't look at that. Yeah, I guess how are these things set? Unclear. This isn't a real feature context, only use the channel type field. Not sure what that means. Okay. Required features. Optional features. That seems weird. Maybe I do have to do required. I mean, I think just for shits, I'm gonna try it. Why doesn't autocomplete? Can't hurt to add that or, and maybe some reason it will fix it. So let's blow up my node again and restart. Okay, let's see if this works any better. So refresh. Okay, we gotta fund our node. Okay, let's create a new node. Oh, Jeff says, I don't think we set that feature bit. That would be a problem, wouldn't it? I guess just for fun, I'll do it anyways. Open channel, and yeah, so it's definitely not getting set. Let's see, what do we got? The zero conf feature seems incomplete to me until we add the ability to call open channel in a way that demands zero conf. I don't think there's ever a reason anyone should use the zero conf channel type. It really just exists because LND demanded it really vocally. Okay, so Matt seems to think that this whole feature is pointless. We'll currently reject inbound channels with set. This is safe for follow-up. Good with a follow-up. The feature doesn't really provide that. You're never going to just open a channel with someone and have them accept zero conf. You're always going to do some kind of out-of-band communication with the peer before you go to open the channel, negotiating zero conf and that the counterparty is willing to accept zero conf from you specifically. Once you've done that, the feature doesn't really add anything. Got it. So that's what the test was showing too. The idea is the feature bit is, he's arguing that it's sort of stupid because people shouldn't really use zero conf with random peers. Like you're going to want, like we talked about before, you're going to want a whitelist of people to do this with. You're not just going to want to accept random zero conf channels from strangers, because it's, you know, it's risky because the channel might never actually become real. Let's see, high level comment. Not sure if I have the whole context on feature bits. Support. Yeah. So basically, yeah, Matt's saying don't rely on the feature bit because it's sort of stupid to do so anyways, and you should already just be using some kind of whitelist or trusted list of peers that you want to do this with anyways. Though it still begs the question, so if I can't rely on this, I still need to know which one of these to call. So it's like I need to know if yeah, is it basically, is the intention that I'm literally just always going to be filtering on the node ID and saying, hey, if this is a node ID that I think, you know, thinks supports zero conf. Like, I guess, is there any, yeah, it seems strange. Like, without this, you don't really know if they want to do it or not. But I guess, yeah, even if it's a peer that you whitelist, you don't know if they requested it or not. Like, is it still possible that your peer opens a channel, even if you trust them, they open a non-zero conf channel with you for whatever reason? How are you going to know which one like to accept it with? So maybe it's the case that you could just say, if it's a trusted peer, like if it's a local node or whitelist, I can always call this. And maybe this will just also work fine. Like if it's not zero conf, I don't know if this will fail. Let's see if it says anything about that. Treat says confirmed immediately. That could be a problem if it's not actually a zero conf channel. This fully trusts that the counterparty has honestly and correctly constructed the funded transaction. Blindly assumes that it'll eventually confirm. Yeah, I guess you could still do this maybe, even if they don't, and you're basically just saying, hey, I'm willing to do this because I trust you. And so it's back to that idea that you need to have a trusted list. So I guess for this first demo part of this implementation, we can just drop this check here. It's just going to be strange because I don't know. This is kind of an open question to the LDK team. Is it okay to always do this if you trust the peer, even if it's air quotes not a zero conf channel open with you? I don't know. It seems like without this, you don't really have a way to know what the intention was. So I guess we can just try it and see. So for now, let's just get rid of this, and we want this code eventually. So let's just keep this and just say, like, really we're going to want something like is trusted peer, right? Like, I don't know. Well, let's just set this to true, and in the future, you know, there's like a to do like look up counterparty node ID in my trusted peer list to set this, right? For now, we'll just trust all of our peers, and so we'll say if is trusted peer, then we'll accept trusted peer zero conf. Otherwise, I guess we can still call this. Yeah, it's probably fine. I don't know if there's a case we want to reject here. It seems like I guess in theory, like if they required zero conf and we didn't trust them, then we'd want to reject. Looking at accept inbound channel from trusted peer, it will only really fail if the channel feature says, yeah, right. That's what I was just sort of saying, I think. And so yeah, if they require it, wait, the other way around, right? It will only fail if channel features say zero conf is required. Why would it fail if the other one would fail, right? Like this would fail if they required zero conf. Seems like you might have that backwards. I don't know, maybe I have it backwards. But yeah, I guess we would still want some kind of check on that feature bit for like LND or other node implementations where they say like, I require this and you're not on my trusted list, then I want to reject it. So I'll have to add that in later. But for now, we want to see a zero conf channel working. So I think this is vaguely the logic here. So let's give this a shot. Yeah, okay. It is the opposite. Okay, let's again blow up my database and restart. Yeah, it's mad that I'm not using this anymore, but it's fine. We do probably want to use it. Okay, let's try this another time. Set up my node. Let's fund my node. Oh, okay, I got some funds. Let's create another node. And now let's open a channel to Alice for 50,000 sats. It is pending confirmations. That's not good. Accepted 0 conf inbound channel. Okay, well, obviously we went into this flow because it's just set to hard coded to true. Yep. Okay, so it's just kind of, it's still asynchronous sort of updating of the state. So we can see it already flipped to ready now. And I haven't mined any blocks. So it looks like it's working. Just to be sure, let me log out, log in as Alice. I want to receive money, test 0 conf. We're going to do 5,000. This needs to be changed to sats. It's too confusing, millisats. Create an invoice for 5,000 sats. Copy. That might be too many sats for this channel. Anyways, log out, go back into root. And let's send money. Pay invoice, paid. So let's log back out, go to Alice, go to channels. We can see my balance is 5,000 sats. So there we go. That was a 0 conf payment. I guess a payment over a 0 conf channel. Maybe we would want to surface somewhere in the UI that this thing hasn't confirmed yet. Very cool. So cool. I guess that was the V1 I wanted to get to, though this is a little janky. Okay, well, that was easy. So if you always want to accept 0 conf channels and trust everyone, there's really not a lot of code you have to write. You could literally just write this one line of code here, plus setting the config here, right? So we had to, basically the big change, where is it, is that we want to manually accept inbound channels now instead of automatically accepting them, because we want to add some logic around that. Okay.